Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer and we'll be working on the number pockets for the Advent calendar. And as you can see, they're pretty repetitive. So I'm just going to start with the first number and I'll just show you how I do that first number, and then I'm just going to skip ahead and do the rest of them. So right now I'm just going to use the beads and sequins to place my numbers onto the calendar just for placement, and then I'm going to go back and applique them. So I will let you watch my process. Okay, so I skipped ahead and added all the numbers onto the calendar, and they look pretty good, and it took me quite a while to put the numbers on. So now I'm just going to separate each pocket section, and in the instructions it says to layer them on top of each other, so I'm just doing that now. And I'm using pins to keep them in place. I'm just lining it up so it's not crooked. That's the tricky part, is making sure that your numbers aren't crooked. So I'm just gonna place a pin there, one in the middle, and one on the side. I'm just lining up the dotted areas. And the little dashes are for applique. So we're gonna follow along the dash line to put these together. Okay, hopefully these will make the pockets that I want to make. So we're just gonna applique these together. Okay, so I am using 3 strands of white, and I'm going to follow along the dash lines. If you can see them, they're a little bit faded in this kit for some reason. Sometimes that happens. It depends on the kit and when it was made. So I'm just gonna, I figured starting in the middle would be best, because that way once I work outwards it'll be symmetrical, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna let you watch me work. here's what I have so far, and I'm just adding the bottom part of this calendar. I'm just going to applicate it to the number piece. And I noticed that the edges kind of overhang, and I go ahead and I trim the excess so it all lines up together. And once I'm done applying this piece, then we're going to start putting the letters on. So luckily this part of the calendar goes by pretty quickly. Not as much detail as the top, which is nice, so it's not like crazy busy. And okay, so I'm just gonna finish this off camera. That's what it looks like so far. So okay, I have the bottom completely attached. There's the back. That's what it looks like so far. Looking good. Okay, and I think we're gonna work on the ho 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 at the bottom next. All right, so same concept that I used for the numbers, I'm gonna do for the letters too. So I'm just cutting out the middle of the O right here. I'm using my curved scissors. They're just Fisker curved scissors. I use them for my appliques. I decided, hey, this would be good for the little O's getting in the middle. Make sure it doesn't cut into it too much. And I am placing each letter down with the bead and sequin, and then I go back and applique them together. So that's the first hoe, and we're going to do 2 more after this. So I'm just using a pin for now to kind of keep it in place while I put the beads and sequins on. Skipping ahead, we're going to start with all of the leaves, and same rules apply for the top. If you haven't seen that, the previous tutorials, the playlist is in the description of this video, so go ahead and check those out. This leaf combination, for the dark leaves I use light green, and then the light green leaves I use dark, so it's kind of a contrast, which makes it kind of nice and colorful. So I'm just attaching these at the tip of the leaf, and I'm leaving the tip of them kind of hanging outwards. Okay, skipping ahead, I got all the leaves done because you don't want to see me do all these leaves. It gets boring after a while, so I might as well get them done beforehand. And you can see the contrasting colors. And now I'm going to put all the little berries on. And I'm just going to do that real quick. Okay, so I'm just going to show you real quick how to put the berries on. And sometimes the berries will be covered up by leaves a little bit, and that's okay. So we're just gonna, I'm just placing these berries with beads and sequins, and that's it. If you feel like going back and appliquing them individually, that's up to you. I decided to skip that just because these pieces are so small. I don't feel like they need it. So it really is personal preference. But I'm just gonna put these on. And it's much quicker to just place a bead and then move on to the next one. So I'm just double knotting it in the back, and I'll be doing this with every berry. That's my son up there. They love trying to get into the camera shot. I swear, every few minutes, mommy, 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 and they end up putting their hand in the shot or moving my table. Something. Okay, I'm just going to put the berries on, and then we'll do the next part. So here's what it looks like with all the berries on the bottom, and here's the top. So we're going to try and figure out how to put this together. The instructions aren't very clear. All I know is that obviously the edges need to meet, and they have to create a pocket. So I'm still trying to figure out, right now I'm just using these pins to keep these in place so I can at least applicate the side of it so it's secure, because there really isn't that much overhang, to be honest. And the backing of it is going to be a Pellin backing. So the pockets will still like have a bottom to them in the back. So if that makes any sense. But I'm just going to place this here, and then I'm going to applique these two pieces together. Okay, so I added the bottom to it, and I'm sorry for my messy desk. I work here quite a bit, so I'm just I put my camera up higher so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. I'm putting the Pellin backing onto the back of this wall hanging. And I'm just trying to figure out like the best position, because the Pellin backing doesn't completely cover the wall hanging, so I have to kind of gauge where I want it to sit. So I'm thinking probably start at the top, and then whatever's left over on the bottom just gets left over. So right now I'm just going to pin this in place, and I'm just going to match one edge side. So I'm going to do this edge, which is matching, and then I'll trim the other side so that it matches. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to like pin it down here, and then I'm probably gonna end up creasing it to the size that I want, and then trimming it. So I figured if I just pin it in place so it doesn't move, that way I can trim it and then we can sew it on. So I'm going to stop talking and you can watch my process. All right, so we've got the pellin backing on, and that's where I ended up placing the backing. And now we're gonna add a little tassel on the bottom. So I'm just gonna make the tassel. And I'm just trying to figure out how to do it. Because it's a really big tassel, so I want to make sure that I have the room that I need to tie it properly. Okay, I'm just trying to line up these threads and put this in the position that I want it to. This is the first time making a tassel this big, so this will be interesting. I kept the tie string on a needle. That way I don't lose the string. So it's easier for me to just use the needle to tie it, if that makes sense. Hopefully it'll make sense once you understand how I'm doing this. So I'm wrapping 2 yards of green thread around my fingers, and I have the tying thread in the middle of it, and I'm holding that, and I'm just going around and around until I hit the end, and that's gonna make my tassel. And I knotted it to make it a lot easier. So this is how I usually make the tassels, at least the small ones. I haven't made one this big in quite a long time. Okay. See what I did there? Yeah. So I'm going to use another piece of string to tie the top. I'm just grabbing that string, and then I'm just gonna use that to tie it. And when you're making tassels, make sure that you tie it as much as you can. Even if it's just you feel like it's too much, just tie it extra. Because there's really not much holding these tassels together except for a couple of strings, really. And this tassel is quite huge, so I'm going to slowly position it the way where I want it to. So I want to create that tassel head that's unique to a tassel. So I'm just going to push this up a little bit and get it to where I want it, and then tie it. It's a little hard to maneuver, but if you go slow, you'll be able to do it. And I literally just tie, like I'll just tie it and then flip it, tie, flip. And honestly, I don't really count how many I do. I just do it enough to where I feel like it's secure. I feel like it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm just taking off the extra string because it gets in the way. So I'm just going to tie this as much as I can. It looks like a little straw doll with the little tiny arms and, you know, a dress. Okay, this is kind of the concept, so yeah, I just tie it a whole bunch of times, and then once I feel like there's enough, then I will show you what to do next. So I'm probably going to tie this several times off camera because, you know, watching me tie knots over and over is not exactly fun. And plus, it's a little bit hard to maneuver because you're working with a bunch of threads, so it can be a little clumsy. You can triple knot it, you can square knot it, you can regular knot it, whatever you want. So, all right. I'm going to skip ahead and we'll finish this tassel. Okay, so I got it to where I felt like it was secure enough. And, sorry, I've got a little cold. Even though I'm not really sick. It's weird. I've got like a like a nose thing. It's just my nose. It's weird. So, all right, so grab some scissors and then cut the middle. And the beauty of these tassels is you can get all of the string with your scissors, and you don't have to like cut them individually, which is nice. So I'm just looking for stray threads that don't line up. So I like to just bunch them up together, kind of flatten it out a little bit, take my scissors and even them out. It may take a few tries, but ultimately you'll end up with a pretty symmetrical tassel on the bottom. Just cleaning it up, and then we're gonna attach it to the bottom of the calendar. So when you hang it on the wall, you'll have a little tassel on the bottom. If you like this video and found it helpful, give it a big thumbs up for me. That lets YouTube know that you like this video and that you want to see more. And it will also share it with other people that like stuff like this. And smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate it because I work really hard on these videos and a lot of time and effort goes into each one of them. And making these takes a while, you know. I don't think people realize how long it takes to make these kits. I mean, I've got, 3 little kids running around. So I've got to be mommy and the housekeeper and cook and crafter and YouTuber. So it takes a lot, Okay, so I am using the same string that I used to secure the top to attach it to the bottom of the wall hanging. And I'm going to really secure this. So I just put it directly underneath the bead and sequin that's on the very bottom. And I just make sure that it's super, super, super secure, because you do not want it falling off. So I double knot several times, and I make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And you know what? If it's a little crooked, it's a little crooked. No one's judging. I'm really happy with how the bottom turned out. I was a little nervous about putting the actual calendar together because the instructions are very vague. So I kind of had to figure it out. But luckily, these visuals will help you guys. So if you've done this kit before, let me know in the comments. I would love to know how you guys felt about this kit and if you liked it. And if there's any other kits that you want to see. I have several kits in the making. More tutorials coming your way. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any. I feel like summer is already over. And we're just going to literally jump into Christmas. Not going to lie. Are you kidding? I'm already working on Christmas stuff for my shop. So check out my Etsy shop. It's also in the description box. The Good Life eShop. So I'm hoping to make more stockings on there. And this is what we have so far on the Advent calendar. Super cute. Oh my gosh. All right, next episode we will be making the little ornaments. So I will see you in that next video. Bye.